First question is, how did you get into acting?
I got into acting because I was in broadcasting. I was in Chicago doing morning drive, which is a pretty good shift out of a city like that, making $135 a week. And I said, so I want to do commercials. And the people in Chicago said, no, you're the radio person. No commercials for you. What the heck with you guys? I'm going to L.A. And they said, you'll never get a job. And I said, I'll have a billboard on Sunset in a year. I had one in 8 months. I just didn't bother to tell anybody I couldn't act. Some people figured it out, but
Awesome. So what was the process of making Tron like? Because it was really kind of ahead of its time as far as the special effects go.
Well, way ahead of its time, not just special effects, but conceptually. That's where I think some of the difficulty was, because people had computers, but certainly the PCs were not like they are now. I mean, my dad had one. It was like I couldn't figure out why he was fooling around with that thing. It was a black screen with green little dots on it, and I'm like, why are you wasting your time? The concepts were flybys. The story was good, though, and the special effects were good, and it held up over time. So now, when Disney did Legacy, and re-released it together globally, it's gotten a huge, wonderful reaction, because when something's really good, and nobody knew it. I mean, the dialogue is stilted. Is in my vision. It's hard for me to say some of those lines like, "Oh, Tron, I knew there wasn't a circuit built that could hold you." I was like dying, going, "Don't make me say this." But it holds up over time because it's got a lot of heart. So 30 years later, it's more popular now than it was then.
I actually bought both on Blu-ray when they came out on release day.
On Blu-ray, it jumps off the screen, because the people who made it they hired the best of the best to do special effects and designing and costume design and the artwork. I mean, they got the best people in, and then they did something like 650,000 cells that I got my hands up. I'd say that's about 18 inches, about 11 by 18 inches. I mean, huge cells, 650,000 hand-painted, handmade cells. So when you see that Blu-ray on a large screen, it just jumps right off the screen. It really looks great.
What was the process of making Caddyshack like?
Yeah, well, it was different than Disney. We shot where at Disney everything was tightly choreographed, and it was on the Disney lot, and each shot was very contained, because you had to hit specific marks because we were working on a completely black set. Caddyshack was more like, how can I say this politely? You just the next day either woke up or rolled out of the party you were in and went through makeup, hair, and wardrobe and showed up on the golf course in South Florida and said, okay, what are we doing today? Because the script wasn't even a guideline after a while. We had 4 of the funniest men on the planet improvising, and I'll be through in a minute, so don't go away. Improvising, and you had to either follow the action or you were on the cutting room floor. So I decided to follow the action. It was just kamikaze filmmaking at its best. It was nuts.
Okay, what are some future projects you have coming up?
I am going to not do appearances for a while and finish up the book on the making of Caddyshack. I've been talking about it for years. I had to actually upgrade my hardware, upgrade my software, and take over the project myself, because the thing is, I'm the only one who can tell that story, and people get involved in different ways, and I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to finish it. And I've got a nice new MacBook Pro with Retina display, and there's a nice program that's right in there, and that'll lay it out graphically, so I can do the very simple graphic design, and then tell the stories. And as you can hear, I'm not at a shortage for words. So.
Now, last question is, do you have like a Twitter or a Facebook where fans can keep up with what you're doing?
Honey, I've got websites from here to space. If you can't find me, you're not looking. If you Google Cindy Morgan, the first one up top is my main website, and that'll take you to, if I hear of a new platform, I'm on it, or I'll get somebody on it and to run it until I understand it. Twitter, Tumblr, several Facebook pages, because communicating on the internet is what's working right now. This is what the 21st century, either communicate with the folks or say goodbye and get out of the game. And I'm happy to do it. I'm thrilled about the internet, because that's my backyard. I come from a broadcasting background, and I get it, and I'm very, very happy about it, because the people who buy the tickets are making the decisions. Makes me smile.
All right, thanks very much for your time.
You got it.